There is no way of sugarcoating this. No one can talk about Manipur in a positive light right now. I mean, no offense, but what positives do we look into when the state has been burning for almost 3 months non-stop? Over 150 people are dead, and even today, we seem no closer to a solution. And oh, a child and his mother burnt alive, women being paraded naked, teachers being beheaded, women being shot dead in cold blood, thousands still in refugee camps, and of course, communities no closer to ending violence against each other. Such is the condition that even a $46 million grant for the state seems like hardly a reason to care, let alone celebrate. On July 8, EastMojo broke that news that the World Bank is extending financial assistance to Manipur for promotion of digital skills and securing the foundations for digital government in the state. The bank, through an official email, confirmed that it will provide $46 million for the Manipur Infotech-enabled development project, which will help the state to take advantage of digital technologies holistically to transform its economy and e-service delivery. The total cost of the project is $67.5 million. But as I said, few would care, let alone celebrate. My name is Kalyan Dev, and in this episode of Decoded, we will look at how Manipur is unlikely to recover from the ongoing violence in more ways than one, and why the violence may have sounded the death knell for the state's progress for years to come. Pursuing for months.
The village of Assam
in the 75th Independence Day.
Remember the inhuman murder of a 7-year-old and his mother a few weeks ago? Or the inhuman beheading of a man? Or the shameless murder of a school teacher? Or the news of women being paraded naked and being raped? Yes, this is where Manipur is right now. The warring communities are no closer to a reconciliation. Some are now even getting angry at the mere mention of the word reconciliation or any attempt to bring peace in the region. And rightly so. How do you expect a person whose family members have been shot dead to talk peace with the perpetrators? The Manipur government has made it clear that post-violence, it definitely does not represent one community. Which community? I'm sure you know the answer to that. A few days ago, during the premiere of our first episode of our show, Peace for Manipur, which you can watch by clicking the link in the description below, our live chat was mostly, well, people swearing at each other. And this may sound unjournalistic, but do you blame them? Do you expect people, regardless of which community they are from, to just say, it is fine, sure, you killed us, but hey, no worries. In some ways, even talking about anything other than the ongoing violence seems like a disservice. But hey, someone has to, right? Once again, this is not meant to hurt anyone's sentiment, but Manipur is not a rich state by any stretch of the imagination. Let us take a look at some numbers. An Indian Express report published on May 9, 2023 pointed out that a worsening employment crisis linked to a slowdown in its services sector, a key driver of the Hill state's economy, seems to be a contributing factor for the unrest in Manipur. The report added that Manipur had one of the highest unemployment rates for the age group of 15 years and above, at 9%, more than double the national unemployment rate of 4.1% in 2021-22, and higher than other states in the northeast. Every region within Manipur fared badly in the joblessness. The unemployment rate in the Kuki and Naga regions were estimated to be 9.5% for 2021-22, while the unemployment rate in the urban areas where much of the Meitei population lives were only marginally lower at 7.6%. Nearly 65% of men in the state were reported as self-employed in rural areas, compared to the All India rate of 59%. In absolute numbers too, the joblessness is scary for a small state like Manipur. One of the figures we have is from 2020 story, which had quoted the Manipur government claiming that the total number of unemployed youth in the state had reduced by half between 2014 and 2018. The then Labour and Employment Minister T.H. Radheshyam Singh, replying to a question raised in the Assembly during question hour and quoting the Directorate of Labour and Employment, said The number of unemployed youths in Manipur was 7,21,824 in 2014, which fell to 3,46,690 in 2018. Now compare these numbers to the 2011 census data, which recorded Manipur's population at 28.5 lakh. The unemployed constitute a staggering 12% of the total population. Such is the condition that the perennial lack of water in the Imphal valley has, as I learned during the election coverage last year, provided the valley's youth with one of the biggest avenues for employment, manning water tankers. Manipur, meanwhile, also faces the risk of a lot of people sliding below the poverty line. And before someone says, oh, you anti-national, you go to XX and YY, the World Bank, in the report about the grant, said this about Manipur. Manipur has remained constrained in employment generation and in entrepreneurial activity. This is due to limited private investment, geographical isolation due to weak physical and digital connectivity, and limited industrialization over the past decades. The unemployment rate in 2021 was 9.5%, the second highest in the northeastern region. Data from 2012 suggests that only 3,000 people, equal to 0.1% of the total population, is employed in the private organized sector, while over 60,000 students are enrolled in graduate and higher education programs in the state. The public sector and the unorganized sector contribute to a significant part of employment. Limited economic opportunities in the state have led to Manipur having the highest ratio of migrant outflows to inflow, almost 4 in northeast India. It is in this dismal scenario that the violence erupted, laying waste to the state, sowing strong seeds of mistrust among communities that could endure for decades, and undoing years of planning and strategizing to bring the state to the modern era. One of the biggest investments in the state has been towards bringing the railways to the state. Last year's horrific tragedy in None aside, where over 50 people lost their lives following a landslide, the onset of railways remains perhaps the most promising hope for the region. But what will assure us now that the railway tracks will not be attacked? Peace is the number one pre-requirement for sustained long-term investments. For the longest period, the Northeast remained an afterthought in terms of investments of any kind. Even educational institutions remained far and few. Think of it. What industries spring to your mind when we talk of the Northeast? The Manipur government, at least in theory, was trying to address this malaise. Earlier this year, the media in the Northeast, especially in Manipur, was abuzz with news of investments. In February 2023, CM Biren Singh informed that he had been assured by delegates of the US taking part in the plenary session of the B20 meeting held in Imphal that a US-based company he did not name was willing to invest $500 million in Manipur. Delegates of Argentina and Peru had also expressed their desire to employ female nurses from the state in healthcare centers in their respective countries on learning that a good number of female nurses from Manipur were currently working in Japan. When an Imphal-based organization recently said that the state is facing a famine-like issue, some people said they were exaggerating. But let us not forget that last year, Manipur had one of its worst agricultural seasons and several farmers did not even bother to harvest. This was what Professor Chilangamba Yenghom said while talking about last year's disastrous agricultural season.
So if you look at the Niti Aayog published report in the multiple poverty index, Manipur is doing very bad.
Exactly.
It was doing very bad prior to the violence. Then you had COVID, 2 years. Last year was devastation in terms of agriculture. So anyone who knows agriculture would be able to tell you that the harvest was so horrible in many parts of Manipur that many of the small farmers did not even harvest because they were, the amount of money that would be spent in harvesting would be less than what you're going to recover from the crops. It was a total crop failure, and then we're already late for this season. Right? So a large majority of the people who are small farmers, who are laborers, who work as agricultural laborers, and I'm talking across, not just Meitei Kuti, but also other communities as well, right? So that is going to get affected.
This year, however, makes last year look like a bumper harvest. We are in mid-July as we speak, and we are yet to even get close to starting the sowing season. And Manipur, sans agriculture is like a body without a working brain. No harvest means no income. No income means no money to support luxuries like education, no money for health expenses, and the spiraling effect of an entire economy laid waste is already playing out in front of us. Add to that the already stressed resources in a state facing the worst of its climate change. Think droughts, more droughts, and severe lack of water. And I might as well say it, Manipur, you are staring at a dark future for a long, long time.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.